إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره، نعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا، من يهدي الله فهو المهتدي ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. All praise be to Allah, King of the world, the Master of the Day of Judgment. I bear witness no one is worthy of worship but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the last and the greatest messenger, was sent to mankind to bring them out of the darkness of this world to the light of this dunya and the hereafter, and from the injustices of religions to the justice of Islam. The only religion will be accepted by Allah. Inna ad-deena 'inda Allahi Islam. First of all, I would like to extend my appreciation, my gratitude for inviting me here, and I feel honored to be amongst you. Even though this morning I woke up with some sinus infection and I was thinking about calling to cancel, but I said this is an opportunity to see brothers that we love for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And alhamdulillah, as the day progressed, we felt better. And so excuse me for sitting on the table. It's just standing for an hour or so will be a little tiring. As you heard the brother saying, and as you were informed, topic of tonight is Qawlullah ta'ala, فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. Flee to Allah. And really, this ayah from Surah Al-Dariyat is very meaningful and very important, because we live in a world where we are asking, where is the escape, and where we should be heading to, and who should we be running from, and to whom we should be running. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sums all that in His book with one or half an ayah, where He says, فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ إِنِّي لَكُمْ مِنْهُ نَذِيرٌ مُبِينٌ. فِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. Flee to Allah. And before we go in a little bit of some of the ways to flee to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's very important to discuss the ayah and to see the construction of this ayah and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changes the norm in this ayah linguistically for you to reflect and for you to ponder. Because when you look at the idea of al-firar, the action of fleeing, usually you flee from something you're afraid of. You flee from khawf, wal-faza', wal-ru'b. You flee from something that's scaring you. And usually the verb flee comes in conjunction with the word from. Preposition from comes with flee. So you usually flee from. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses that in the Quran so often. يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى in Surah Al-Kahf, لو اطلعت عليهم لوليت منهم فرارا ولملئت منهم رعبا. When He talks about the people of Al-Kahf, and after they slept for 300 years plus, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if you were to look at them, you would be fleeing from them. لوليت منهم, يعني you would flee from them, run away from them because of their look, because their look is not pleasing to the human eyes, because of their nails and their hair. So you will run away from them scared. ويقول الله سبحانه وتعالى in Surah Al-Shu'ara, when Musa told Fir'aun, فَفَرَرْتُ مِنْكُمْ لَمَّا خِفْتُكُمْ. I ran away and I flee away from you when I got scared of you. You know, when Musa a.s. killed the man from Fir'aun, from Ali Fir'aun, he ran away. فَفَرَرْتُ مِنْكُمْ لَمَّا خِفْتُكُمْ. I flee away from you when I got scared from you, because they were telling him they're planning to kill him. ويقول الله سبحانه وتعالى سورة المدثر فما لهم عن التذكرة معرضين كأنهم حمر مستنفرة فرت من قسورة. يعني why they turn away from التذكرة and from the ayat of Allah? They look like, when they're running, the way they're running away from the reminders of Allah, كأنهم حمر مستنفرة, just like donkeys running away because it's being chased by qaswara, by lions. But Allah here again uses the verb flee. He says فرت من, fleeing from, فرت من قسورة. ويقول الله سبحانه وتعالى in سورة الجمعة قل إن الموت الذي تفرون منه. Tell them and say that the death that you flee from. So you see that the verb flee, even in English, usually you flee from, because the idea of fleeing and running away and al-firar is accompanied and combined with the idea of fear. The cause of fleeing is fear and khawf and terror and faza and stress and worries. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah, He says فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ, not min Allah, flee to, ila, flee to. So that is very important idea that we need to establish tonight inshallah, and understand why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses that. يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى in Surah Al-Rahman أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا معشر الجن والإنس إن استطعتم أن تنفذوا من أقطار السماوات والأرض فانفذوا لا تنفذون إلا بسلطان. Allah addressed the jinn and the ins. If you can flee من أقطار السماوات, from the limits of the heavens and the earth, then go ahead. You won't without the permission of Allah. إلا بسلطان. And sultan in the Quran, the word sultan always means hujjah, argument, except in one ayah, and that is قوله تعالى Surah Al-Haqqa هلك عني سلطانية, يعني my support and my lineage and my name and my wealth, ما أغنى عني مالية هلك عني سلطان. This is the only ayah where sultaniya or sultan means that. But every else in the Quran, the word sultan means hujjah, an argument. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala challenges the mankind, and before them the jinn, because in this ayah you find i'jaz that the jinn are more addressed. Yani the ayah starts with the jinn. In other ayat you find the ayat starts with the ins. But here, because the jinn are the ones who have that power, so Allah says, if you can flee from the limits of the heavens and the earth, go for it. Without the permission of Allah, you can. Without a hujjah, you can. So in this ayah, what you conclude is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who has full control of the universe. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who has full control of the heavens and the earth. So if you want to flee from Him, where are you going to flee? If you want to run away from Allah, if everything belongs to Him, if the heavens and the earth belong to Him, if His knowledge is everywhere, and He has control everywhere. So if we want to say, if Allah would have used فَفِرُّوا مِنَ اللَّهِ, to who? To Allah. So there was no need to mention min Allah, because every time there is firar, and every time there is the action of fleeing, there is matlab wa mahrab. There is something you're running away from to something you're running to. So as we will see and we will understand well why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used فَفِرُّوا إِلَى, flee to, instead of from, when we see siyaq al-ayat and we see the ayat from Surah Al-Dariyat before this ayah, we will understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why actually the dua that you make every time you should you go to bed, as the Prophet ﷺ said in the authentic hadith of Bukhari and Muslim, that in hadith al-Bara ibn Azib, the Prophet ﷺ said, if you were to go to your bed, إذا أويت إلى مضجعك, to sleep, فتوضأ وضوءك للصلاة. First you make your wudu just like you would make wudu for salah. Then فنم على شقك الأيمن. Then lay down on your right side. And usually in other hadith it says that the Prophet ﷺ would put his hand under his cheek. But then the Prophet ﷺ guide us for the dua. The dua says, when you do that, you make your wudu, you lay down on your right side, and you make the following dua. Allahumma aslamtu wajhi ilayk, wa fawwadtu amri ilayk, wa alja'tu dhahri ilayk, raghbatan wa rahbatan ilayk, la malja'a wa la manja minka illa ilayk, amantu bi kitabika alladhi anzalta wa bi nabiyyika alladhi arsalta. Bayt al-Qasid, or the point from this dua, and it's dua min jawami' al-kalim, great dua. And just to translate it very quickly, aslamtu wajhi ilayk, I submit my face to you. Perhaps the face is your front, because the hadith continues the dua to include the back too. وَفَوَّضْتُ أَمْرِي إِلَيْكَ, and I put you in control of all of my affairs, because it's during that time where you cannot protect yourself. Look, when you are sleeping, you are so susceptible for anything. Anything can harm you. When you're sleeping, you can't defend yourself. وَفَوَّضْتُ أَمْرِي إِلَيْكَ, I put you in charge and in control of all my affairs. وَأَلْجَأْتُ ظَهْرِي إِلَيْكَ, and al-luju' to put Allah in trust, in protection of your back, because usually the person is attacked and betrayed from his back. So that's why you say alja'tu dhahri ilayk, I put you to protect my back. Raghbatan wa rahbatan ilayk, in love and fear to you. Then the next part says la malja'a wa la manja minka illa ilayk, there is no escape and there is no return from you but to you. So if you look, and then the rest of it, I believe in the book you revealed and in the Prophet you sent, but the point you look at this, la malja wa la manja, there is no escape and there is no safety from you but to you. So if you were to follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ the way it should, and you make this dua every time you go to bed, that means every single day you make it clear, فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. Because la malja wa la manja, there is no escape and there is no protection and there is no safety and there is no running away from you but to you. And know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the only one that when He is feared or when He is feared, you run to, not away from. Because as we said, everything belongs to Him and He's the controller of everything. So you're going to run from Him to who? And that is a message to everyone who think that he can seek help in the west or the east and in so and such and my money and this and that. There is no escape. So we have to understand this fact, and we have to understand this concept that there is no escape from Allah but to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى. Now if we go back to the ayat to see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about that we need to flee from. And to, because we already established that every time you flee, you're fleeing from something to something. And here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah says فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. He only telling us where to flee to, but He's not telling us what we're fleeing from. But if you look at the ayat before it, then you will know. يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى سورة الذاريات قال فما خطبكم أيها المرسلون قالوا إنا أرسلنا إلى قوم مجرمين لنرسل عليهم حجارة من طين مسومة عند ربك للمسرفين فأخرجنا من كان فيها من المؤمنين فما وجدنا فيها غير بيت من المسلمين وتركنا فيها آية للذين يخافون العذاب الأليم. This is the first. Then Allah says, وَفِي مُوسَى إِذْ أَرْسَلْنَاهُ إِلَى فِرْعَوْنَ بِسُلْطَانٍ مُبِينٍ فَتَوَلَّى بِرُكْنِهِ وَقَالَ سَاحِرٌ أَوْ مَجْنُونٌ فَأَخَذْنَاهُ وَجُنُودَهُ فَنَبَذْنَاهُمْ بِالْيَمِّ وَهُوَ مُلِيمٌ. That's the second. وَفِي عَادٍ إِذْ أَرْسَلْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ الرِّيحَ الْعَقِيمَ مَا تَذَرُ مِنْ شَيْءٍ أَتَتْ عَلَيْهِ إِلَّا جَعَلَتْهُ كَالرَّمِيمِ. Third. وفي ثمود إذ قيل لهم تمتعوا حتى حين فعتوا عن أمر ربهم فأخذتهم الصاعقة وهم ينظرون فما استطاعوا من قيام وما كانوا منتصرين. That's the fourth. وقوم نوح إنهم من قبل إنهم كانوا قوما فاسقين. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says والسماء بنيناها بأيد وإنا لموسعون والأرض فرشناها فنعم الماهدون ومن كل شيء خلقنا زوجين اثنين لعلكم تذكرون ففروا إلى الله. So these ayat I mentioned talk about قوم لوط, قوم فرعون, قوم هود, قوم صالح ثمود, and قوم نوح, and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished them because they rejected the prophets, and He can punish you. The way He punished them, He can punish you. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in those ayat before, He's telling, we punish them when they rejected their messenger. And we warn you, if you would reject Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you will be punished. So run away from the adab and the punishment to Allah. So we're running from what? When Allah says, flee to me, flee from His punishment to Him, to His mercy. And if you look at the order of these ayat is something strange, ajib, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, between the ayat of the punishment and the ayah, or to flee to Him, He mentioned about creating the heavens and the earth. وَالسَّمَاءَ بَنَيْنَاهَا بِأَيْدٍ وَإِنَّا لَمُوسِعُونَ. And the heavens we have built it with power, with قوة, كما قال العلماء. أيد يعني قوة. وإنا لموسعون. And الموسعون يعني إما من توسيع أو السعة. يعني either it means we build the heavens and we keep it increasing in size. And the ilm and science has proved that the universe is expanding. Or السعة, السعة يعني البسط. يعني we provide for you, we build the heavens and we give you without any account. Doesn't Allah says وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ, your provision and your sustenance and your maintenance in the heavens. Either way, and both of them can fit the meaning. Then Allah says وَالْأَرْضَ فَرَشْنَاهَا فَنِعْمَ الْمَاهِدُونَ. And the earth we have spread it out. So creating the heavens and creating the earth, between the ayat of the punishment and the ayat of fleeing. So that brings the ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says ما خلق السماوات والأرض أكبر عند الله من خلق الناس ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. The creation of the heavens and the earth, isn't it harder to Allah than creating mankind? لا نعم. إنما خلق السماوات والأرض أكبر عند الله من خلق الناس ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. The creation of the heavens and the earth is bigger to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than the creation of mankind. But most people don't know. That's why if you look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inject the creation of the heavens and the earth to tell the people, if we are able to create the heavens and the earth and create you, then it's so easy for us to destroy you. If we can increase in the size of the heavens and the earth, which is more difficult than creating you and nothing difficult to Allah, then we can destroy you. So flee to me. So flee to me. So very important you understand from this ayah that fleeing from the punishment of Allah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يقول أبو إسماعيل الهروي رحمه الله منزلة الفرار. He talks about this ayah. He says الفرار من لم يكن إلى من لم يزل. فرار من لم يكن إلى من لم يزل. The escape in this ayah and the flee is from the thing that did not exist to the thing. But here من لعلها يعني refers to Allah, the flee from what did not exist to what will never vanish. الفرار من من لم يكن, the flee from something or from the thing that did not exist to the something or to the thing or whatever he means, or to the one, which is the right thing, is to the one who never vanished. So in other words, what did not exist is you, and usually people run away and scared of who? Of other people. So al-firar in this ayah, he says what Allah wants you is not to flee from what did not exist at one point. Allah wants you to run to the one that does not vanish, and that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the ayah that we got stuck with, لَخَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. لَخَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. So here Al-Harawi rahimahullah tells you that when Allah tells you to flee, you need to be fleeing not from the one that has no power, not from the one that did not exist at one point and needed Allah to exist, but to flee from and to the one who does not vanish. And that is al-awwal wal-akhir wal-zahir wal-batin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he goes to tell you وَمَرَاتِبُ الْفِرَارِ عَلَى ثَلَاثٍ. And the levels of fleeing to Allah, three levels. And the first of those is to flee من الجهل إلى العلم. To flee من الجهل إلى العلم. To flee from ignorance to knowledge. To knowledge. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the ayah, He says فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ إِنِّي لَكُمْ مِنْهُ نَذِيرٌ مُبِينٌ. وَالنَّذَارَةُ لَا تَكُونُ إِلَّا بِعِلْمٍ إِنَّمَا أُنذِرُكُمْ بِالْوَحْيِ. When you warn someone, because the ayah says flee to Allah, I am from Him to you a warner. The Prophet ﷺ is a warner, شاهدا ومبشرا ونذيرا. And you cannot warn of something you don't know of. So without knowledge you cannot warn. What you gonna warn of? Heavens and earth, or the hellfire, the punishment of Allah, from Allah, is all from the unseen. And without knowledge you cannot reach that. You cannot reach that with your own speculation. You need wahy and you need revelation. So when it comes to ilm al-ghaybiyat and to the knowledge of the unseen, you better have the dalil before you talk. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah says, flee to Allah, I am to you from Him a warner. And Allah says in the other ayah, He says, إِنَّمَا أُنذِرُكُمْ بِالْوَحْيِ. I only warn you through the revelation. Yani the only way I can warn you is what Allah tells me. Which indicates in the same ayah, since Nadir mentioned the same ayah of fleeing, that a way to flee to Allah, first level, that is to flee from ignorance to ilm. From ignorance to knowledge. And the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the deen of Allah is significant. And it's not something will come to you while you're laying down in your bed, and not something that comes to the people without efforts and without striving. That's why the Prophet ﷺ tells his Messenger ﷺ, فَاعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لِذَنْبِكَ وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ. But the first thing you need to know is know that there is no one worthy of worship truly but Allah. Allah tells the Messenger ﷺ, no, la ilaha illallah. And then you can ask for forgiveness. So al-ilm before action, and al-ilm before acting, and al-ilm before talking. Very important. So you want to flee to Allah, you have to know the way. Okay, I'm gonna flee to Allah. But fleeing to Allah, that means I have to take a path. Whenever you flee towards something or to something, supposedly, if we can take it like that, you take a path. So you want to flee to Allah, you have to take a path. How you know? Which path? That is only through knowledge. Through knowledge. يعني the Ahl al-Bid'ah and the people of innovations and the sects that divided this ummah, because when they completely deactivated the wahy, they said our minds can think for us. We are so intelligent. We can think. We create. We make these things. We can know our way. So that's when they put al-aql qabla al-naql. يعني they put their intelligence before the narration and before the revelation. Whereas the aqidat Ahl al-Sunnah wal-Jama'ah and the right understanding of the deen is al-naql qabla al-aql. The revelation comes before the intellect. The intellect. And where you find others, extremists, who went to say, يعني Sufiya, he said, the number of the paths, or عدد الطرق إلى الله كعدد أنفاس البشر. يعني the numbers of the ways to Allah, as many as the breaths of a human being. يعني imagine how many breaths people breathe in and out. That's how many ways you can get to Allah. And that's not true. Because the deen and the Quran says something else. وَأَنَّ هَذَا صِرَاطِي مُسْتَقِيمًا. This is my way, straight path, a way, one way. And the nur in the Quran, all is singular. And al-huda. Okay? So it's very important. The Prophet ﷺ says in the famous hadith that the Jews were divided into 71 sects. All of it in the hellfire except one. And the Christians divided into 72 sects, all of it in the hellfire except one. And my ummah will be divided into 73 sects. كلها في النار إلا واحد. All of it in the hellfire except for one. قالوا من هي يا رسول الله؟ قال الذي أنا وأصحابي عليه اليوم. أو الذي أنا عليه وأصحابي اليوم. When they asked which way, which group, he said the group that follows what I follow and what my companions follow today. So you want to know the path? You go back and you search and you read and you learn and you listen and you follow the ulama rabbaniyin and see what did the Prophet, when he said that hadith, what did he used to do? What did the Sahaba do when they heard that hadith? What were they doing for the Prophet ﷺ to approve their way of life? Then once you learn what they did, then that's what you need to do. And anything else will be rejected. That is not in accordance, or it goes the way it's in opposition. When we're talking about the deen here, in opposition. Okay? So very important, like the man who came to Imam Malik, rahimahullah, and he said, من أين أحرم? Imam Malik, في المدينة. So he's asking him, from where should I make ihram? He wants to go for Umrah or Hajj. قال إمام مالك من ذي الحليفة. الحليفة ميقات أهل المدينة. يعني outside, few miles outside المدينة, toward Mecca. فقال الرجل أريد أن أحرم من عند قبر النبي، يعني من المسجد. I I want to make my ihram from the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ. Now it's permissible to make ihram from before the miqat. There is miqat. You cannot pass without ihram if you're going to Mecca to make Hajj or Umrah. If you pass it, you go back to it. But some of the ulama said you can make ihram like Abu Hanifa, you can make ihram from home. As long as you did not cross the miqat, you don't make ihram. And of course they have their own reasons, but Allahu A'lam, the reason the Prophet ﷺ determined specifically certain spots for certain people from certain directions to be their miqats, the places to make ihram, is that to follow and to make ihram there. Unless there is other reasons يعني beyond your control that you're going to pass over it, as Ibn Abbas said يعني هن لمن دخل عليهن أو مر عليهن يعني these مواقيت, whether you pass by them or over them or محاذاة يعني. But the point is, this man said I want to make ihram from the masjid. So Imam Malik rahimahullah tells him لا تفعل فإني أخشى عليك الفتنة. He tells him don't do that because I'm afraid you will fall into a fitna. Now this يعني indicates that it's okay, but I'm afraid that it's going to lead to a fitna. So the man said, what kind of fitna? It's only a few miles I'm adding يعني. It's only the miqat is here, I'm going back a few miles and I make ihram from there. He wants the ajr. فقال الإمام مالك وأي فتنة أعظم من أن تظن أنك سبقت إلى فضيلة لم يفعلها رسول الله. What is a greater fitna than for you to think that you did something and something good that the Prophet ﷺ did not do? And that is an answer to all of the people of bid'ah and the people of innovation. Whenever they introduce something in the deen and you ask them, well, we want to praise the Prophet, we want to show how much we love him, we want to show how much we love the deen, so they start making up their own stuff. It's enough fitna that you think you did something and you know that the Prophet didn't do it, thinking that it will bring you to Allah. And on the other side, you're abandoning what the Prophet ﷺ did himself. Because every time a bid'ah is practiced, a sunnah is abandoned. Just like that. Okay? So very important. So Imam Malik rahimahullah tells him what is a greater fitna than for you to think that you did something good the Prophet ﷺ did not do. يعني you know better. Huh? يعني you know better. So then he said رحمه الله, he recited قوله تعالى فليحذر الذين يخالفون عن أمره أن تصيبهم فتنة أو يصيبهم عذاب أليم. Then let those who oppose the order of the Prophet ﷺ, let them be aware of a fitna that will hit them or a severe punishment. The order of the Prophet was what? Dhul Hulayfa. So why you want to make it from the masjid? Then he said his famous saying. His famous saying. He said ما لم يكن اليومئذ دينا فليس اليوم دينا. What wasn't from the deen when the Prophet ﷺ was alive, then it cannot be deen today. And that is the answer to all of the people of bid'ah. And they start quoting so and so alim and so scholar and so Suyuti and this, and they divided the bid'ah into different levels. They said bid'ah hasanan, bid'ah. كل بدعة ضلالة. يعني make it easy. كل بدعة ضلالة. And we don't need it. The issue is we don't need it. يعني they start the bid'ah just like the Nasara. They started praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يعني رهبانية ابتدعوها. رهبانية, this kind of excessive worship, zuhud, ابتدعوها. They invented it. ما كتبناها عليهم. We did not write it and we did not obligate them to do it. And in one tafsir, when they decided to do it, we made it obligatory on them. Yani they made it hard on themselves, so we approved. فما رعوها حق رعاية. They could not even do it. They did not do it. They invented it and they could not continue with it. Okay? So it's very important sticking to the order of Allah and the command of the Messenger ﷺ is the first level of running to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and fleeing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because when you flee, you need to take that path and you need to know it. The second level of fleeing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to flee from al-kasal, to al-himma, to flee from laziness, to determination. You have to. Because the person who's lazy can do anything and can achieve anything. And if you are lazy, you cannot learn, and you cannot strive, and you cannot suffer for the way of Allah because you're always afraid. So you stay in the backstage and you don't want to do anything when it comes to the deen of Allah. So we have to get from that, out of that state. We have to flee to Allah. You want to flee to Allah, again, you have to take this path. We already know and established that without knowledge you cannot know which path to take. Because the dua and the people who invite for fitna are everywhere. Okay? Everywhere. So they're going to try to snatch you. And shayateen are calling for everything. So it's very important that you know the path through knowledge, and once you decide and once you put your foot on that path, you need energy to keep you going. You need strength. You need determination. And the only way you achieve that is by having azima and jidd. يعني الجد or al-azima is to have the intent and the strive to do. And you have the desire. That's al-azima. And al-jidd, to have the desire to act. So al-azima and al-jidd are required for the one who wants to flee to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So very important that if you are lazy and you want to flee to Allah, you can't get there. You put the foot in and then you will be tired. That's why a problem we have. And you read in Siyar Salaf and Siyar the Ulama and the stories of the Sahaba and the stories of the Ulama, and you see how they used to worship Allah, for example. And then you try to do it. And you read, he would stand up the whole night praying. As Abu Muslim, one of the Ulama, he used to have a stick, a cane. And he will stand to pray throughout the night. Every time he gets tired, his feet, his legs wants to collapse on him, he will get the stick and he will hit. And he will say, you deserve to be hit more than my animal, my vehicle out there. Do you think that the companions of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, or do they think the companions that we will not compete with them at the doors of paradise? And we came after them, but they think we will not compete with them. Look at the azima, and look at the energy, and look at the determination. When he wants to look how to worship, he always looks at those who are higher. He doesn't look at someone who doesn't make qiyam and say, well, 30 minutes already, great, much better than him. They look at the higher ones. So he's telling his legs, he's talking to his legs. Do you think the companions think we will not compete with them? We will compete with them at the hawd or at the doors of Al-Jannah. And he will continue praying the whole night. The one of us starts praying, he reads this siyar, gets very energetic, very excited. Allahu Akbar. Finish al-Fatiha. Intention, Baqarah. Yalla qul huwa Allahu ahad. Why? Because there is kasal. So much laziness. There is no jidd. There is no seriousness. Those people knew what it means to flee to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is take us to the levels of Islam. Islam, Iman, and Ihsan. Why these people were able to do it? Because they established the level of Ihsan and the level of Iman. And that is, with the fara'id and the obligations, they did the way they're supposed to. With the haram, they refrained and they stayed away from the way they're supposed to. So automatically, that takes them to the level of Al-Ihsan. So once you are in the level of Al-Ihsan and you worship Allah as if you see Him, when you stand up to pray, you are in pleasure. You are in a joy. It's not a burden anymore. Salah is taqila, kabira, كما قال الله تعالى وإنها لكبيرة إلا على الخاشعين. Salah is heavy. But once, you see, we can't stand up the whole night. Stand up, watching a movie. We can't stand up in a wedding party. We can stand up outside the masjid after Isha for 3 and 4 hours chatting. That's a reality. Of course, that doesn't mean I'm saying watching movies يعني halal, or I'm just giving an example, and that is the reality. But when it comes to that, we can't. Because if you did not establish the wajibat and the obligations the way you're supposed to, and avoid the haram the way you're supposed to, how can you go to the next level? How can you focus on the mustahabbat, يعني the recommendation, the sunan, if your fara'id are not fit and are not good? You understand? So the basic and the foundation is faridah and wajib. That is, you have to do. You got no choice. So if that itself is shaky, and you did not do it, you did not pray your fara'id, يعني في 5 salawat, the way you're supposed to. You miss salah here, you get 1 salah out of time, you do that, you do this. You did not fulfill the obligations and the arkan and the shurut and the wajibat. You cannot focus on the sunnah. It doesn't work like that. You establish, it's building blocks. Fara'id, I know I do the fara'id the way, to the best of my ability. Haram, I avoid the haram to the best of my ability. Once you do what's required of you, what happens? Then you will have the ability to focus on the recommendations and the mustahabbat. That's why in the famous hadith al-Qudusi, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that there is nothing better for my servant to come close to me than maftarabtuhu alayhi, than what I have obligated him to do. وَلَا يَزَالُ عَبْدِي يَتَقَرَّبُ إِلَيَّ بِالنَّوَافِلِ حَتَّى أُحِبَّ. And my servant continues to come closer to me with the nawafil, يعني the sunan. The reason, until I love him, the reason that he continued with the nawafil to reach the love of Allah, because he already perfected the fara'id. So our friend or ourselves, when we stand in the middle of the night to pray 3 hours, or decide, you know what, I'm going to read the Quran like Uthman in 1 rak'ah, and you can't, because your fara'id and your wajibat are not perfect, are not to the best of your ability. Okay, and that is actually, as we are talking in the other masjid, these are the levels of the awliya. You have 2 levels of the awliya in the Quran. One of them, the second level, يعني أصحاب اليمين, those people who did the wajibat the way they're supposed to, and they stayed from the haram the way they're supposed to. But what made them in the second level, and what made the first level the first level? Because the first level did the recommendation, and the mubah in their life becomes ibadah. So the reason that we cannot stand up in the middle of the night, that's if we try, because our foundations is not fit. We still have shortcomings in our fara'id, in our salah. We still fall in the haram here and there, and we do it intentionally. That's why you cannot do the mustahabbat. And that is actually one of the ways of the shaitan. يعني the shaitan works at different levels. Know for a fact the shaitan will reach a point where he will join good. Shaitan will join good to take you away from Allah. Very quickly the shaitan starts with shirk. He will fail, goes to bid'ah. He will fail, goes to major sin, kabir, will fail, goes to minor sin, will fail. Then he will go to take you from fadil ila al-mafdul. You're about to do something good, he will convince you to do something good but less good. So he's joining good. He can tell you to pray, but for example he'll come to you and say, you hear the adhan, so you start making wudu. There's 20 minutes between the adhan and the iqamah. So he tells you, you're ready to leave your home to go pray jama'ah. He tells you, you're going to go sit there for 20 minutes. If you pray now, first you pray before anyone else. And second, you are avoiding any source of showing off. And third, you pray and you have 20 minutes. Look how much time you will be spending walking to the masjid. You can read the Quran in that time. Even though the salah fil jama'ah would be better than all that. You understand? So that is how the shaitan works. So it's very important, and again, without knowledge you cannot discover these things. So that's why we cannot stand in the middle of the night. We cannot, how many of us talk to themselves? We all read the hadith or heard the hadith when the Prophet ﷺ is making qiyam and Hudayfa sees him. He said, let me join him. So he started reciting Al-Baqarah. He said 100 ayah and he will make ruku'. 100 ayah continued the Prophet ﷺ. 200, he will finish the surah. He starts Ali Imran, he starts in Nisa, and he finishes, then he goes back to Ali Imran. That's all in one rak'ah. And Hudayfa standing there, praying with the Prophet. We all know this hadith. But how many of us try to do it? And perhaps if you read, look quick, this surah, you will be done the whole rak'ah and add another rak'ah to it in 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours. But why we don't have that desire? Because our foundations isn't correct. Because we have not perfect and focused to perfect our fara'id and our wajibat. That is why we are at that level. And the third level, very quick. What time is Isha? 30? The third level of fleeing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as Imam Abu Ismail Harawi mentioned, الفرار من ضيق الدنيا إلى سعة الآخرة. Once you know your path, and once you start going on it, So we reach the third level of الفرار, and that is الفرار من ضيق الدنيا إلى سعة الآخرة, and that is the goal, and that is the مطلب. And once you take that path, and once you continue on it with azimah and ijtihad and power and strength, with الكتابة بقوة, you will reach. And المطلب and the end is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَأَنَّ إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ الْمُنْتَهَى, and indeed to your Lord is the end. And we all say إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ, and to Allah we return. So that is the third level, and that is the end of fleeing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is when you reach. That is when you reach. And the Sahaba of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam understood فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ, and they understood it very well, that they applied it in their life. And you all know their stories. Not only that, but they even used it in their speech. They used the word in their own speech. As the Sahaba, you all know the story, when the Prophet ﷺ picked one of the Sahaba to be in charge of a group, and they were traveling, and he was a man, كان به دعابة, he was a man of a joke, and one time they gave him a hard time. So then he looks at them and he said, didn't the Prophet ﷺ put me in charge of you? They said yes. Doesn't that mean you have to obey me? They said yes. He said, then put a fire. أجد نارا, lit a fire. So they lit a fire. He said, go in it. He's angry with them. Go in it. So they started pushing each other. You know why pushing? They want to go in it because of the obedience, because that is the Amir. Then one of them said, نحن فررنا إلى الله ورسوله من النار. The reason we flee to Allah and the Messenger and we became Muslims to save ourselves from the hellfire. Until they stayed pushing each other until the fire died out and the man calmed down. Then when they went to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they told him the story. So he said sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لو دخلوها ما خرجوا منها إنما الطاعة في المعروف. If they would have entered it, they would have not got out of it. الطاعة في المعروف. The obedience has limits. And as long as the obedience does not ask for disobedience of Allah, that's how long and how far you go, but to obey. But the point is, they use the word فررنا إلى الله ورسوله من النار. Okay, so even the word, they started using it in their life as a way of life. And here's Umar bin Khattab, as Bukhari mentions, Umar bin Khattab, Muslim mentions that Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu, in the story of the plague in Sham, and he went there and he was the Khalifa, and Abu Ubaidah tells him there's a plague, we should enter, or whatever his opinion was. So Umar said, نَفِرُّ إِلَى اللَّهِ, نفر, we run away, we flee from the plague. فقال أبو عبيدة رضي الله عنه يا عمر أتفر من قدر الله, you run away from the qadar of Allah. فقال عمر نعم أفر من قدر الله إلى قدر الله, I flee from the qadar of Allah to the qadar of Allah. Wherever I go, it's the qadar of Allah. Okay? And of course before that he told Abu Ubaidah لو قالها غيرك, someone else would have said that. But he loved Abu Ubaidah. But the point is, again, Umar, he's using the word. We flee from the qadar of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the qadar of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also the Prophet ﷺ used it with Adi ibn Hatim. Adi ibn Hatim, the son of Hatim al-Ta'i, the famous Arab generous man and all that. But he ran away. We ran away, and then he came back because he had his mother or his grandmother was one of the Asra and one of the prisoners. So he came too. He ran away because he was afraid the Prophet ﷺ would convince him of Islam. And you find people like that. They will avoid to confront you because they're afraid you're going to convince them. That's this magazine that we started. Alhamdulillah, يعني بفضل من Allah. يعني the number of comments we heard from people in charge and a'immat masajid, how much they're opposing, and they'll send us messages with people. So we said no problem, they are more knowledgeable, they have يعني more ilm and this and that. Maybe we should sit with them, maybe they should visit us and tell us what they think we should do if they have that much. And you wait and you wait, week after week after week. يعني 3 appointments to meet with one of them, and he would not show up. Some people like that. Now from far, يعني his qaswara, his asad from far. But once he come close, na'ama, ostrich. That's why he doesn't come close, because he got no point. So here, Adi ibn Hatim ran away to Al-Aqrab. Al-Aqrab يعني area was so close to the room. So he ran away. So when he heard that, he comes, يعني out of shame. This is my grandmother in there, or my mother, or my aunt, or whoever. I leave her. So he came to ask the Prophet to intercede. So the Prophet ﷺ tell him, مِمَّا فررت? What did you flee from? La ilaha illallah? And is there Allah other than Allah? Is there God other than Allah? What you flee from? Allahu Akbar? Is there anything bigger than Allah? So the Prophet ﷺ continued telling him and using the word until the man became Muslim, Adi ibn Hatim, and one of the famous Sahaba of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And also يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى نبئ عبادي أني أنا الغفور الرحيم وأن عذابي هو العذاب الأليم. Tell my servants that I'm all forgiving, all merciful, but my punishment is a severe punishment. So Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, when he came to make tafsir of this ayah, he said, نَفِرُّ مِن مَعْصِيَتِهِ إِلَىٰ طَاعَتِهِ وَمِن سَخَطِهِ إِلَىٰ رِضَاهِ. We flee from his disobedience to his obedience. And we flee from his anger to his pleasure. So again, using the same word as a yusud. And actually this is يعني the meaning of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, al-muhajiru man hajara ma naha Allah an. The muhajir, the immigrant, is the one who migrate away from what Allah forbids. That is the meaning, that is, sums up the meaning of fleeing to Allah, is you run away from what Allah does not want you to do, from the punishment and the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then we finish with this point. Why firar? Why Allah chose this word, and usually has a sense and has a component of fear. As we said, fleeing has a component of fear to it. Why Allah did not say they go to him, they walk to him, they run to him? Because you have, if you want to take the path of Allah, if you want to take this path to flee to Allah, and you learn which path it is, and you have so much energy and so much determination to continue on it, and you reach, aren't those the 3 levels? You reach. You still have to be afraid that you will not be accepted. You continue to have, you should have the fear of not being accepted. That's why فَفِرُّ. That's why the component of fear is in there. That's why Umar radiallahu anhu, when he was dying, he said, لَيْتَ أُمُّ عُمَرَ لَمْ تَلِدْ عُمَرَ. I wish if my mother never gave birth to me. As one of the ayat in Qum, عليهم من الله ما يستحقون, he writes a book about the virtue of Ali ibn Abi Talib. One of ayat, they call him ayatullah, ayatullah. And in ilm al-hadith, ayah, when someone called ayah, يعني آية في الكذب. For the ulama of al-hadith, when they use someone is ayah, that means يعني he's ayah in lying. يعني he's lying himself. So those are يعني اسم على مسمى. So he writes, when he talks about what Umar radiallahu anhu said when he was dying, he said, and ما قال هذا الكلام هذا الهالك عن عمر. الهالك the halik يعني from halaka يعني to vanish and be destroyed. About Umar, he said he only said that because he knew that he has nothing good to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with. And we know why Umar radiallahu anhu would say something like that, because he understood, and he was one of the students of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam who told them, أنا رسول الله والله ولا أدري ما يفعل بي. I am the messenger of Allah and I don't know what Allah will do with me. That's why he said that. That's why Umar said that. And that's why Amr ibn al-As radiallahu anhu, when he was dying, he said, I was at a stage of my life where I hated Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam more than anyone, and if I had chance I would have killed him, and if I would have died then I would have ended up in the hellfire. And then at what stage when I became Muslim, then he says the story of his Islam. Then he said how he was shy to look at the Prophet ﷺ, and if you would have asked me to describe him to you, I would not, because of the elegance he had and the so much shyness I would have from him, to look straight to his face. And then he said, and if I died then, إني لأرجو الله أن أكون من أهل الجنة. He did not say then I would have been from Ahl al-Jannah. But when he was in kufr, he was sure he will be from Ahl al-Nar, because he who's kafir and die on kafir, from Ahl al-Nar. But when he was a Muslim, he said, and if I would have died then I would have wished to be from Ahl al-Jannah. Yani still not sure. Sahabi and still not sure. So that's why the component of fear has to be combined with the flee. Because after you do everything you're supposed to do, you should still have that fear that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might not accept from you. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to treat us up to His status, not to treat us with His justice. Because if Allah treats us with His justice, we're all in the hellfire, because we don't deserve it. So we ask Allah to treat us with His mercy, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to teach us what we're ignorant of, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to return us to the path of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to purify our hearts, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to unite our words, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala أن يجعل الدنيا زيادة لنا في كل خير ويجعل الموت راحة لنا من كل شر. We ask Allah to make this life addition and opportunity for us to increase everything in our life that is good, and to make death safety for us from any shar and any bad thing. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.